They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
What's up, everybody? My name is Ethan. This is Courtside TV. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it today. So, man, what a game we just saw. Steph Curry, 62 points on 31 shots. Y'all better stop talking crazy about this man, because seriously, dude, it's getting ridiculous at this point. The whole narrative of this game tonight was, over the past couple of days, it's been like Steph versus Dame Lillard, and like people saying who's the best point guard in the league, and like the whole dumb NBA Twitter thing of Steph's legacy is on the line this year because he has to carry a bad team to the playoffs. And first of all, that doesn't make any sense. Second of all, Steph Curry has done that before. And third of all, he's probably going to do it again. And everybody who's saying that he's not going to is completely overreacting after this is the sixth game now. So I don't know. That's kind of a topic for another day of like Steph Curry's legacy and why this season does not have it on the line. I do want to talk about the game tonight and the Warriors so far this season. But seriously, I mean, first of all, NBA Twitter needs to chill. I'm getting sick of it at this point. I'm gonna start going off. You guys aren't ready for it. I'm gonna start going off on idiots who are haters, and it's a lot of people in the media too. But they're mostly LeBron role players who got beat by the Warriors in 3 finals. But that's beside the point. Steph Curry had 62 points tonight on crazy good efficiency, and we've been seeing some tweets pop up over the last hour or so since the game wrapped up of like just how significant this game is. It's like Steph is the first player since Kobe to score 30 in both halves, I believe is the stat. He scored 30 in the first and 30 in the second half. And then it's like first player to score 60 on the Blazers since Kobe, first player to score 60 in that amount of minutes since Kobe. So it's a lot of since Kobe Bryant's for this game for Stephen Curry tonight, which is just I feel like there's a couple parallels, right, between Kobe and Steph, and the way that casual fans like to dismiss their accomplishments because they don't like them, or things like that. Steph and Kobe have a couple parallels, and again, that is also a topic for another day. But seriously, I mean, I'm just in awe at this point. I mean, it's been so long since we've seen the Steph game like this. He missed most of last year, and finally he comes back, and he's been okay through the first couple of games this year, nothing exceptional. But tonight was, far and away his best game of his last like 2 seasons, and since the finals against the Raptors. So it's so good for the league to have Steph Curry back and playing at this level. And for all of the faults that the Warriors have shown so far this year, I still am a big believer in them being a playoff team. The West is tough, and it might be tougher than we expected, with teams like the Suns playing really well right now. Clippers are looking really good, and that was another good game tonight, Suns and Clippers. The Lakers are still a team, obviously, and you expect like the Nuggets to turn it around at some point, and you got teams like the Jazz and the Blazers, and there's lots of good teams in the Western Conference. But for the Warriors here, this tonight, to me, was the ideal version of this team. Now, obviously, you're not going to get a Steph 60 bomb every single night, right? That might happen a couple times more this season, especially with how much the team is using him right now. And for them to win, they might need a couple more of those games, and maybe in the playoffs as well. But obviously, that's not going to happen every single night. So, when it doesn't, I liked what I saw from the rest of the team. They were active on defense. They were moving the ball, pushing up the pace. They had, role players who were hitting some shots. Kelly Oubre finally hit a couple jumpers in the same game. Damian Lee was hitting his threes. Kent Bazemore hit a couple threes. And so it's kind of like, all right, like this is the ideal version of this team now, where finally it felt like the shooting numbers were about, average where they're going to be. Because so far, Steph hadn't been shooting the ball well from 3 going into tonight. And obviously we know about Kelly Oubre having about the worst start in the history of the league from a jump shooting perspective. So hopefully things are kind of starting to regress back towards the mean for them, because through a couple of games their shooting percentages were just horrible, and so you would expect that eventually those things would come back to averages, and tonight they did, which is a good thing for them. So hopefully they can like avoid these cold shooting nights, and kind of get it together, because when you brought in Kelly Oubre, you were expecting like a 34% 3-point shooter, and right now he's 7% on the year. So obviously you would expect those numbers to go up. So that's the one thing where they shot the ball at an average level, and they looked good on defense. I said that earlier, but Draymond Green's return really helps with that. And, like Kelly Oubre was playing some good one-on-one defense, and you have guys like Brad Wanamaker and Kent Bazemore who know how to defend. But really Draymond coming back is the biggest thing. And I also want to talk about Draymond here too, because he was a guy that it never made sense to me, the whole Draymond is completely washed thing going into this year. And it's another case of people just forget what they, forget things until they see them again. Draymond last year didn't play a lot. He was, they kept him out with a lot of ticky-tack, nagging injuries because the team knew they weren't going to be winning, and they were tanking after Steph went down. And so Draymond, any excuse to sit him out, they did. And so when he was playing, there wasn't a lot around him, and he wasn't really trying either. If you watched and you paid attention to what he was saying to the media and to the reporters, he clearly wasn't 100% buying into the year. He's a smart guy. He knew that last year after Steph went down, there was no chance for them to win the title or do anything really. And so he kind of just mailed it in, and people started to Draymond is completely washed, he sucks now, gave him a huge contract, he's terrible, he can't do anything, blah 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 blah. And that narrative to me never made any sense, because a guy who is not trying and has now had 18 months off since his last competitive basketball, and wasn't playing with any good teammates last year. Now all of a sudden he's got Steph Curry back, he's motivated to try and win this year, and everything is now in the best, he's actually back trying to win. And so the last time we saw him in that scenario, he had probably the best playoff series of his career against the Blazers in the conference finals, and then against the Raptors he also played very well. And so Draymond is a guy to me who, yes, he only scored 1 point tonight, and people are gonna blow that up and say Draymond and Steph Curry combined for 63. Wow, Draymond woke up feeling dangerous. And listen, if you're going to talk trash about Draymond Green's game tonight, you did not watch, because he was so impactful on the defensive end, going on switches, directing James Wiseman to be where he needs to be, helping off ball. And then on the offensive end, he was great distributing, setting screens, doing all the stuff that we know him to be good at doing, right? Doing all the little things that Draymond Green has gained his reputation for over the years. He's not going to be a scorer anymore. When he was in his prime, 2016, 2017, those couple years there, he was scoring 9-10 points per game, and that was on a team with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant healthy. And so nowadays you would expect, at least on a surface level, you would expect that he would go back to scoring about that same amount or maybe a little bit more, but that's just not the way that he plays anymore, and that's okay. He's gonna fill that more glue guy role, facilitator, let Steph do the scoring, let Wiggins and Oubre do the scoring, and Draymond is gonna be, take more of that back seat from a scoring perspective. That's just not his game, and it's been trending that way for the last couple of years, away more from scoring and more towards doing all the other things that the team needs him to do to win, and that's completely fine, because they can find scoring in other ways. He's going to take an open shot if he has it, but other than that, he's not going to be looking to take the ball to the basket and score. And so, that's the one thing with Draymond too. And the whole, as far as him being washed thing, that also never makes sense to me, because he's only 30 years old this year. It's not like he's 37 and entering the back leg of his career. He's 30. He's younger than Steph Curry. He's the same age as Klay Thompson and Paul George, and there's a bunch of other guys who are 30 years old that are still, playing very effective basketball. And so Draymond Green to me, it never made any sense, the whole washed take, and he showed his impact tonight. Yes, only 1 point, but he only shot the ball 2 or 3 times, and then he had those couple free throw attempts at the very end of the game. But he's just not a scorer anymore, and that's okay. They can make up for that in other ways. So getting Draymond Green back is huge for this team as well. And after tonight, I'm a lot more encouraged about the direction this team is going, just because they had those first 2 games where they got blown out. Then they won against 2 mediocre teams on the road, then got blown out by the Blazers at home again. But they made a lot of adjustments. Steve Kerr finally made some adjustments this year, or this season so far, kind of fixed his rotations up a little bit, let Steph Curry be a lot more aggressive with the ball. I don't think he wants to let him do that every night, which, I mean, fair, but still, I would like to see Steph be a little more aggressive with it. And, to both of their credits, he was tonight. And so, especially playing against the same opponent in 2 nights in a row, it's huge to be able to make adjustments on the fly like that. So I do give some credit to Steve Kerr for getting this win tonight, and I hope that he can continue to make adjustments as the season goes along, and also within games. So that's the other thing, right, where they made some adjustments and were able to get the win. So yes, I still believe in this team as a playoff team. For as bad as they looked in half of their games so far, they've also looked pretty good in the other half. And they've said it too. I think a lot of people around the team have said that this is going to be a project. They're going to take a little while to come together. With James Wiseman, trying to develop his rookie year. Draymond, obviously, he's only played 2 games now so far, so getting him integrated into the rotation with all the new players, getting all the new, obviously they had a busy offseason, bringing in guys like Kelly Oubre and Brad Wanamaker, Kent Bazemore, all those guys who are going to play in the rotation, getting them acclimated and stuff. All the guys from last year, getting them used to playing with Steph Curry, because it's a bit of a learning curve, learning to play with Steph because of the way that he moves off ball, finding him in certain spots that he likes, and things that Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant and Draymond Green and guys like Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala were all, they all knew exactly where Steph wants the ball every single possession, and these new guys just don't at this point. And so it's always going to be kind of a learning curve for this team, but specifically for the Warriors this year, more so than a lot of the other teams in the league, just getting them used to playing with each other and figuring out how to play winning basketball together. And so, it's going to take some time to learn Steve Kerr's system, but I am confident that they will be able to put it together, and I think this team will be a lot better, in a couple of months as compared to right now. But early signs, it's been up and down so far, but I still do believe in them as a playoff threat. And, if Steph Curry performs like this, they can hang with anybody. So I'm not worried about it. Obviously, they shouldn't be the title favorite, but I am encouraged by the state of the Warriors right now, and I'm telling you guys, you better stop disrespecting Steph. If I see one more person talk crazy about Steph on Twitter, I'm coming for you, man. I'm serious. Don't make me do it, because Steph Curry's my guy, and I will defend him to the ends of the earth. This is my man right here, and freaking, I just love Steph Curry, man. I love watching him play basketball. He's one of the reasons that I'm as into it as I am today, and he is one of the reasons why I think the way I do about the game, with just the way that he plays. I really value the way that Steph Curry plays basketball, and the way that he goes about, making himself and his teammates better. So Steph has been a big influence on my opinions about the game, which I think is pretty interesting to kind of think about that. Everybody kind of thinks about the game the way that they do because of a specific reason, and for me it's Steph Curry. So I don't know, it was just a fun game tonight, and I'm excited to watch the rest of the season for this team and for Steph, because I think they can be really exciting. Anyway, that's going to be the end of a very long ramble about the Golden State Warriors, but I'm going to do these occasionally whenever it's warranted. You guys know the Warriors are my team, and so whenever I get an excuse to talk about them, I will. Hopefully it's in a positive light more often than not, but yeah, and when I get going, you can't shut me up. But anyway, that's about all I've got for you today on the Golden State Warriors. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to, leave a comment letting me know what you think about the Warriors, Steph Curry, their start to the season so far, and the whole discourse on Twitter about Steph and everything else that's going on with him. Anyway, with all that said, I will see you guys in the next one.